Hi, and welcome to another webinar of Phone Manager, which is the service that we focus on to deliver VA services specifically to busy business owners. And today's topic is systems that run and grow your business. And I'm your host. My name is Alexei. So let me kick off the slides. All right. So a little bit about me. My name is Alexei. I am a Google partner. I run the digital marketing agency, and I also run a few other businesses as well. And today we are going to be talking about one of my businesses. I am also a business coach. I help businesses with sales and marketing, and I'm also an author, and I'm working on my second book at the moment. This is a photo of me doing a presentation at Google a few years ago. As a Google partner, we do have the privilege of being able to run some of our events out of their offices. Now, Phone Manager, what's Phone Manager? Basically, it's about engaging virtual assistants, a service where we find phone managers or virtual assistants for you to specifically handle things like incoming calls, booking quotes and appointments, helping you with marketing campaigns, and doing things like follow-ups and providing general customer service. Now, why I think Phone Manager is important is because a lot of people are really too tight in a business to some of the tasks that can really be outsourced. And look, everything, I guess, is important, but if you look into where your energy can really be spent for the best outcome, you'll find that delegating tasks is really the best way moving forward and growing your business. So today we're going to be talking about a business called Homestyle Cleaning. Now, this is a business that my wife and I started back in 2018. So I'm going to be talking about my own business today, which is quite interesting. I guess it was quite easy for us to start that business from a marketing perspective, because as a digital marketing agency owner, I could potentially get all the clients that I needed in there. But I didn't know anything about cleaning, but my wife, Christina, she's got hospitality background. So she is actually really good at processes and following through and understanding all that stuff. So we thought that the point of difference would really be focusing on getting local cleaners to help local clients with a domestic cleaning needs. We thought that the whole industry needed better customer service, because we really try to get cleaners ourselves, and it was quite inconsistent. Some companies kept changing people. Other people that came in privately couldn't really follow through on some of the basic processes. So we really thought there was a need in the market for that. And I guess from the perspective of the cleaners, we found that a few of them were quite stressed, and they weren't getting paid on time if they're working for an agency. So we thought that making sure that we can find them local work, pay them on time, and create standards that could really, really help us with the whole thing. So growing your business, I guess, I think it's quite important to mention this, because every business owner would want to grow their business to some degree, or at least has the desire to make more money. And we found that there's quite a few bottlenecks in the business. I mean, if you're a sole operator, and Christina started the business initially herself to carry through out all the tasks, you quickly find out that you're not able to take calls and potentially do the job and invoice on time. There's just way too many hats to wear. So we found that really the only way to grow a business like that would be through systems and people. Now, having a system handle some of the basic tasks, like a calendar, for example, and getting people and training them up to use the system to deliver those standards. We also found that obviously there's an 80-20 behind every business in just about every aspect of it. And 80-20 is something I'm very big on personally. It's basically that 80% of your results come from 20% of your service or activities. And then you can apply this to problems in your business. You can apply this to, I guess, the outcomes in your business. And it's just really important to sort of pay attention to that. It's really a simple concept to understand where you need to spend the energy to optimize your business. Now, there's also market changes in the business. I mean, market changes, prices rise, potentially sometimes there could be a shortage of cleaners and so on. You need to respond to these things as well. And then at the end of the day, it's also about goals. So you need to review your goals and make sure that you're on track. Because if you don't set goals, then you have no idea where your business is heading. So that's super, super important. In fact, I'd start most businesses to look at goals before doing anything else. So when we look at the Homestyle cleaning business, it's a client-contractor model, which is quite clean in the sense that you've got your contractors, you've got your clients, and you manage everything in between. Now, you basically got to engage the contractors. You got to do the sales process on onboard clients. You got to provide customer service and feedback to do the whole thing. And this is where we felt like we were filling the gaps in the market. You obviously got to take payments on time and pay people on time, and then you need to scale. Now, If you try to do this all yourself, you'll find that you hit the ceiling very quickly, and you'll find a lot of very busy business owners that are in fact self-employed. They've really created themselves jobs. If you work as a cleaner yourself, there's only so many hours that you can spend on cleaning, and then from there you have to work harder in order to be able to service any more, and then it starts to affect your personal life. So from a business perspective, it's really more about growth through systems and people, and making sure that we are focusing on the key processes. So that's what our model was like. I'll put together a bit of a visual just to show you that, we have clients on one side, we have contractors on the other side, and they have their own sort of agenda. And then systems and phone manager, which is obviously the service that we're using ourselves to run this business. And I think it's really important to understand that we've really set this up in a way that 80% of Homestyle cleaning is operated through the phone manager service. So that is really the essence of this conversation and webinar today, just to make sure you understand how this can help potentially your business. Now, let's talk about process hierarchy, because behind all this, you've got a bunch of processes that really need to be delegated. And I know process can be as simple or as complicated, but this is the key for you to be able to disconnect yourself from some of the tasks and be able to grow your business. Because once you put together a procedure of the things that you need to follow through, you can get other people to follow that process as well. If you address each and every single one of the clients that you work with differently, then it's very difficult to scale. And this essentially is the difference between businesses that are stuck and businesses that are continuously growing. So the process hierarchy that I usually follow myself, and this is what we've implemented here, is that there's usually a task that has a bunch of processes behind it, and each process has got a bunch of steps. So for example, if we talk about a task of booking a job, we've got, it's about booking a client, getting the detailed scheduling job, and then assigning that to a contractor. So booking a job basically involves a bunch of processes, and each process has a bunch of steps. Now, making this granular makes it very easy for you to follow through and make sure you can bring a standard in here. What's also important behind this is the first step towards you being able to use a system with these processes. So if we look at some of the examples of the key tasks, for example, like client acquisition, you get the lead, you basically get the contractors, you sell the lead, you book a job, you pay the contractors. So this would be the part of your client acquisition process. Now, a key of some of the bigger processes would be to, let's say, book a job, which is, book a client, assign contractor, get job done, collect the payment, get the Google reviews, rebook client, and ask for referral. Now, you may find that sometimes you miss some of these steps altogether, hence why you don't really have things like Google reviews, for example. I find a lot of businesses really don't have any processes in place to get this. And this is the big aha moment for a lot of for a lot of clients I work with personally, because I find that unless you've got a process behind something, like you're just getting things by chance. Google reviews is a great example of something like that. Referrals is another one as well. If you don't ask your clients for a referral when they're happy with your services, you're likely not going to get one. I mean, if it's going to happen, it's only going to happen on very, very small scale. Now, key problems with this whole thing. First of all, when you're doing all this thing yourself and you're trying to sort of operate a business with those processes, and even if you hire a person to help you with those things, there's a problem with things like confirmation of jobs. People cancel, contractors become unavailable. There's last minute changes, like people say, hey, I'm not home at the moment, and so on. And then, there's other problems like collecting client payments, reminding them about payments if they haven't paid on time. And then also allowing for things like various payment methods, because some people prefer to pay by credit cards, other people prefer to pay through another party. Like with cleaning, we have a lot of clients through government funded agencies. And I guess the whole thing is about keeping client information in one place to basically be able to book for future jobs as well. So it's quite a few problems that we basically follow through in order to get this business delivered. So what we found is that there are quite a number of solutions that could be used. And specifically for this cleaning business, we have found a system called Zenmaid, which is tailored specifically to the cleaning industry. However, the processes it follows are quite generic for a lot of business. And you'll find that if a business, a trades business, for example, is using Tradify or Zenmaid, some of the processes are very, very similar. We also use Xero, and this is obviously the accounting platform, which allows us to send invoices, do the reconciliation. We also use Stripe, which allows us to take credit card payments. So these are some of the systems that we've implemented in order to be able to address some of these key problems in order to be able to grow the business, because otherwise we were really just quite stuck. So, Zenmaid, you log into something like that. This is the dashboard for the business. It gives you a bit of a forecast of the revenue. It shows you some of the key metrics about how many appointments you've had, how many recurring clients, and then also things like instant bookings. One of the really cool things it's got is the online booking. Now, if you think about online booking, it's a really great platform for people to rebook. It's not working as well to get new bookings, because a lot of the time people really need to ask you questions and find out a little bit more about who you are. So then from there, obviously, we'd have a calendar, which is all the different jobs with all their details. And this is obviously for us. Each one of the cleaners would have their own app, or basically they can access this account online to see the jobs that are assigned to them. If we're booking a job or adding a new client, we're able to put all the information in here, and it's quite specific. You can also track things like marketing sources if you're doing various things as well. Overall, Zenmaid's, I guess, key features is it's just simplifying the whole thing with things like communication between the clients and the cleaners, making sure that there is a appointment reminder that goes out. And this is key, because a lot of the time, if you don't do that, you're going to end up with cleaners going out and potentially people not being home to be there with them. SMS messaging works like a charm in this particular case, and then also doing key things like follow-ups after appointments as well, if people want to rebook as well. So once you have those processes in place, you can actually automate them through the systems, and that works really, really well if you understand what those key processes are. You can also do your payments through Zenmaid as well. However, it's hooked to a system called QuickBooks, which is very good in the US. In Australia, it doesn't work so well, so we decided to sort of stick to Xero. But essentially, if you're able to stick just to booking appointments and looking after the clients, this system really handles a lot of the things that are causing a lot of grief if you're basically doing it by hand. Now, if you want to check this tool out, there's a 14-day free trial, and this is the URL for the website. Now, I'm not associated with Zenmaid. It's just a system that we use. It's done really well for us. So yeah, check it out. Now, Stripe, this is really quite straightforward. And this is an example of a Xero invoice, which gets sent out to people once the job is done. We found that adding Stripe to Xero has really created a lot of additional cash flow for us to get payments via credit cards. Now, this is basically added through Xero. And one key thing that I've found that adding the actual credit card fees on top of the invoice has really made no difference. People are happy to pay by credit card to get their points for convenience, and they can see that there's an additional charge. So I think, in the 4 years of running the business, we've only had maybe 1 or 2 people complaining about something like that. But there's always an option to pay by direct debit if they want to avoid paying the extra fees. Now, a little tip here is there's another service called Go Cardless, which has recently been acquired by Xero. And this service actually allows you to do direct deposits as well, if you want to do that in an automated way. And one other cool thing that Xero does is you can actually set up repeat payments. So if you have regular clients, you can set up a repeat invoice, so you don't have to worry about doing it every single time. So Xero has definitely been great. And as a process, it's got a lot of things streamlined. So if you're doing this by hand, if you're sending out your invoices by hand, that's madness. But unfortunately, I still meet quite a few business owners like that. Google reviews. Now, that's a huge topic right there. And a couple of months ago, we actually did a webinar with Carl Schwantes from 5-Star Reviews. You can find this through our YouTube channel, or if you get these slides, you can basically click through. I'll put a link to the video within the YouTube, because this is going to go up on our YouTube channel as well, in case you've missed this. I find that overall, there's quite a system that can be used for Google reviews, in the sense that there is a process to follow. Now, if you got that process to follow, you can do that manually. However, having some tools like Happy Clients, which is a tool that we've developed, really makes the whole process quite easy. And we are offering a 7-day trial. This is a tool that we've built, which allows you to get SMSs out to potential clients to get the review. And if you want to have a look at Homestyle cleaning, there's 87 reviews or so, and this particular system makes things very, very easy for us as well. With Happy Clients, the back end of the whole thing looks something like this. And if you got multiple locations like we do for Your Easy Web Solutions, which is my marketing agency, you can have a drop down for each one of the locations. You request someone's name and put their mobile number and hit request review, and the actual review gets sent out to them by SMS. Why this is good and why this is important is because you're really simplifying the whole process to cut out all the bits that make it complicated. First of all, if you ask someone for a review, 99% of the time they'll tell you that they're happy to leave you a review. However, when it comes down to actually doing it, people don't find the time to do it because they have to look for it, they have to find a link and so on. The SMS makes it super easy. It sends it to their mobile, which has got a 99% open rate, whereas emails are typically about 30%, and it's all about timing. And then from there, if people click through, most of the time they're logged into the Google account, which makes it easy for them to follow through and leave the review. So we found that works really, really well, just eliminates a lot of obstacles. Now, delegating tasks. Now, this is really the key. And I guess we found that, with the 80-20 approach, I've put down some tasks in here. We've been able to get Phone Manager to really help us scale the business. So sales is obviously a huge part of the Homestyle cleaning side of things. Client managing, so calling clients, following up on clients, and so on. Invoices and reconciliation of the invoices. Google reviews, getting them as the step I've just described before. Getting repeat clients into the system or reactivating them if they're putting things on hold. Doing contractor onboarding, customer service, marketing, which is obviously done by my agency, and then problem resolution and text preparation. We found that out of these 10 tasks, Christina could really focus on, only 2, which is only the 20% that were the most important, which were problem resolution and then basically all the text preparation. Everything else is delegated through Phone Manager or through Your Easy Web Solutions for marketing, for example, in order to get this business to run. So just think about this for a moment. So you could potentially spend 1 day as opposed to 5 days to run this business. And this is exactly what's happening in our case. If you can really let go and delegate of some of the key tasks, make sure you got processes and steps around each one of those things, and then use a system that helps you coordinate them, then you're basically cutting back on a lot of time. If you're heavily involved in the business, this allows you to do a lot with the business. If you're working on the business, you can get better processes. You can potentially work on things like marketing campaigns in terms of the offers. You can work on competitor analysis, and then you can turn the business into a franchise opportunity or a license, for example. So there's a lot of opportunities behind the scenes there. Now, some of the other services Phone Manager works with, and look, Phone Manager really came by as a part of running Homestyle Cleaning. We found that we needed a VA. We needed to get a Phone Manager person to manage that business because we just didn't have the time, personal reasons, and too many other things as well. So we actually started onboarding a lot of Phone Managers for other businesses that are clients of mine, of Your Easy Web Solution. And many businesses run things in many different ways, but we find that the tradies use things like Zenmaid or Tradify or Jobber. A lot of professional services use Google Calendars to set their appointments through things like Calendly, for example. And we've essentially found a lot of good VAs that are very good at English and are very good at setting things up and following through, and train them on a lot of this system. So this is really the power of Phone Manager and being able to delegate and grow. Now, with the Phone Manager offer, if you really want to check it out, at the moment, we're offering no setup fee and 50% off for your first week if you want to do that. And we're also offering that happy client for free as a part of this subscription as well. So if you want to book a time, follow through on this link and speak to lovely Daria, who's the manager of the service, and she is the onboarding coordinator as well. Now, I don't think Phone Manager is definitely for everybody, but if you're really stuck in things like taking calls or potentially managing some of the processes, or you find the same thing repeats over and over and over, really the only solution to is either systems or people, or both. And if you're really serious about growing your business or potentially, winning a little bit of time back, this is what you got to do. So, if there's any questions, definitely happy to open up the mic and have a chat. I have received a couple just as we sort of spoke. Someone's asking, what's the best solution when it comes to trades workflow management? Well, look, it really depends, I guess, on the service and the processes that you follow. I don't specifically think that one is better than another. Like Zenmaid isn't better than Tradify, for example. They do things in a very similar way. However, there are limitations. Like, for example, Zenmaid has got an issue with apps for Android, for example. And it's one thing that they've been meaning to sort of resolve for a while, but at the moment it's only available on iPhone. So that's a bit of an issue. As for the other ones, look, I guess there's always pros and cons, and I guess we've worked a lot with Geo in the past. Geo seems to be a little bit clunky with some of the key processes. So look, I don't think I'd be able to answer the question as to which one's better, but I think you really just have to understand your key processes and understand which system can help you with those processes. Because at the end of the day, what you want to do is, let's say, book a job and delegate parts of that job to specific people. So they all get notified, they know what's happening, and you don't have to micromanage everything. The whole thing is really about you letting go and making sure that you can use a system as a focal point with all the images, all the documentation, all the notes as the source of information. That is really what the whole thing is about. Another question I had was in relation to the Google reviews, for example. Well, look, Google reviews is a huge topic, and I guess the importance of it is it's practically your organic rankings that will depend on it. And the question was, how do you streamline the whole thing? Well, it's just about having a process really and having the right tools. If you're in the hospitality industry, if you don't have a system in place, you're going to get bombarded with a lot of negative reviews, because negative people, when they're unhappy, they're going to be a lot more likely to leave you a negative review as opposed to the people who are really, really happy with the service. So if you don't have a strategy, be ready for that 3.5 reviews appearing out of nowhere. And you may be running the best business in the world, but unfortunately, it's only the unhappy people that are leaving you a review. So you really need a strategy. Another really quick win that you may have potentially is if you have a database, and I encourage every business owner to build a database of some sort, either collect business cards or ask for name and email, or even review your inquiry forms through your website. And basically do an email blast to those people to find out, what they think about your business. Get some customer feedback as well. Now, I know if you're just going to send out an email and ask them to leave a review, you're probably going to get a few negative ones, because not everyone inquiring may be your customer. But if you filter that through and try to get some feedback prior to it, you'll find out what people are thinking about you. And I think generally there's a huge lack of feedback for a lot of businesses from the customers. And if you're thinking that everything's great and you're running the same thing over and over and over, well, I'm not convinced that this is going to get better in any particular way. So yeah, I guess when it comes to reviews, it's just about systems and processes and making sure that you're spending the time on something like that. Another question I had was about the actual VAs. So what we do with phone managers, we actually source virtual managers. We find them through various sources. We make sure that they tick all the boxes. And typically when a customer comes to us with a particular business, we try to identify their goals and the key problems. And then we hire a person specifically around that. So our role is really to make sure we look after the phone manager and the system along the way to deliver the best results for the customer. Now, the key here is basically everything's pretty much done through the phone. So we use a system called VoIP line, which allows us to set up virtual phone numbers and allow people to basically get on the phone to take incoming calls and also do outbound calls as well. So this is something that the phone managers are armed with. And the connection is really good, local number. So if they call somebody, it's going to be 07 for Brisbane or whatever else that you need. And yeah, VoIP line is a great tool. So if you're looking at something like that, I definitely recommend it. Do we have any other questions? Let's see if we can maybe use chat for that. Okay, I've had a question popping up directly at me. Okay. Alexei, what's the best way to market your business? Well, this is a classic one. Well, I guess every business is different. I'm personally a big fan of search engine marketing, Google Ads, SEO, but it obviously only works for businesses that are within the realm of people searching for you. So B2C, business to consumer, works quite well. The B2B environment, maybe not so much. So it really depends on the business, I guess. So we probably may have a separate conversation about something like that. Anyway, guys, I wanted to keep it short today and really wanted to keep it on point. But our next webinar is going to be on the 26th of October with relation to B2B marketing, because that's actually the topic that's quite trendy. And we find that using phone managers or VAs simply to coordinate these marketing campaigns really works quite well. So 26th of October, touch wood, hopefully nothing changes. And yeah, if you basically missed out on any other webinars, they're going to be uploaded into our YouTube channel. please have a look. We've done a few so far, and yeah, things like Google reviews. If you haven't seen that webinar with Carl Schwantes, definitely recommend to check it out. And yeah, if you have any questions or would like to contact us, here's our contact details. So please feel free to reach out. Probably best to do it via email. And yeah, if you got any questions, please, yeah, don't hesitate to ask.